Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse One here. How is everybody doing tonight? Welcome. We're going to have a little chat. We're going to talk about the upcoming food shortages and are you ready? Okay, so we're going to give it a minute here before we get into that topic. I just wanted to remind everybody that it's a family-friendly show, so please be decent to each other and in the comments as well. Now, the last show that I did, there was an issue with the audio or the video, and it had me on the camera over here, and I kept looking over here, and it was messing me up. But when it first went up, I said a four-letter word, and I didn't realize that it went on the video. So I did remove that. So anybody that saw that, I have to apologize because I try to, like I said, I try to keep everything very family friendly. And then the funniest part about that, so I say this four-letter word, and then I go into my talk about how we want to keep things family friendly. So it's, I was like, oh my God. So we got it off, and so that's out of there. But anyway, yeah, I said snow, right? Exactly. That was the four-letter word. But anyway, so again, just be decent to each other in the chat. Let's have no racism, no nastiness, and stuff like that, please. And if you have something that you want to say after I'm done talking, please all cap lock so it stands out for me. I have these awesome moderators here, and they will keep the chat clean. So if you decide to not be family friendly or be nasty to somebody else in the chat or anything like that, you will be gone. You will be blocked. So, and once you're blocked, guys, I'm going to tell you what, I've had people email me and said, oh, well, your moderators blocked me in the chat and stuff like that. If you've been blocked, I'm not unblocking you because they obviously blocked you for a reason. And so I'm just putting that out there. I'm just being honest. Okay. So there's always, if you're not being decent, then that's why you get blocked. So anyway, so let's get into this topic. So we're going to go over a couple things first of all. Okay. So, obviously, anybody that watches my channel knows I do believe we're entering a grand solar minimum where the planet is getting colder. And so, but we're going to talk about a couple of different things with this. Okay. This spring, we had unprecedented flooding in the Midwest, tons of rain and stuff like that. So it destroyed a lot of stuff. A lot of farmers were sitting on their soybean crops because they were waiting for the trade war with China to be over so they could sell those crops, and they lost everything. So realistically, in the beginning of this year, 25% of the farmers basically gave up and said, I'm done. Okay. So that in itself is sad, but it happens. Okay. They just can't do it anymore. They've lost too much and they're done. So now a lot of the crops got in late, not on an average time. So what these farmers needed for the fall to go decent so that they could, get these crops that they normally would get in earlier. And I'm going to go over some numbers with them. I wrote some information down, but they needed things to go smoothly. And as everybody knows, we've had October storms in the Midwest dumping, up to 30 inches of snow. There was literally millions and millions of acres of wheat, of soybeans, and those type of things in the fields that are now ruined, 100% loss. Now, I'm going to run some numbers by you guys real quick, okay? Let's see. So, because of the late planting, okay, as of May 31st, only 58% of the corn had been planted compared to 90% on an average year. And that was all due because of the flooding and stuff like that. So they only had 58% of the corn in by May 31st, okay? Only 29% of the soybeans were planted by May 31st compared to an average of 66% on an average year. So they were behind the eight ball to begin with because of all the flooding and stuff like that had happened this spring, okay? So it says 42% of the corn will not be mature by September 28th, all right? China has lost 35% of their corn crop this year as well, all right? So that's something to think about as well. So we've had an historic Midwest blizzard that the farmers are expecting massive crop losses due to the severe weather. All right. So I wanted to. Okay, so this blizzard that hit in October was just before harvest time. That has devastated farms all across the U.S. heartland, and again, because of the delayed in planting, because of the flooding, they weren't able to get their crops in like they normally were able to. Some did, and like I said, they said a percentage got in, but nowhere near as much. So this is according to the USDA. Only 15%, and I want you to think about this number, guys, for a second, okay? 15% of all U.S. corn and only 14% of all soybeans had been harvested by October 6th, and only 58% of that corn was mature by that October 6th date. All right. So again, you're talking about not very much harvested. You're talking about devastating losses. Hey, Mountain Girl, can someone send heat up my way, breaking out the thermals and milk jug? Yeah, I hear you. In the mucks. Yeah, I don't blame you there. And thank you for that donation as well. But it's cold. I'll tell you what the temperature is right now here. We're at 25, so that's actually pretty good. Last night, when I was coming home from the prepper get-together that I had gone to, it was like 3 degrees. I mean, it was freaking freezing. It was really, really cold. So, of course, now hold on 1 second, guys. Can you say hello, Heather?
What?
Can you guys hear her? Central Florida Prepper. Oh, hold on 1 second, Heather. Appreciate you covering this. This country's going to feel this for sure. You were absolutely right, and we're going to continue talking about this more, and you're welcome, and thank you very much for that donation. I'm doing my live stream, sweetheart.
I forgot. You called me. I was just calling you back.
Okay. Can you hear? Yeah, they can hear you. Say hi to everybody, Heather.
Hi, everybody.
How's college?
It's been great.
How was your second test today? Did you do okay?
For the most part, yeah, but then the last part sucked, so.
Oh, well, that's no fun. All right, well, I'll tell you what. I will call you after the live stream, okay, baby?
All right, well, tell your people that I love them.
Well, you can tell them. They can hear you. Go ahead and tell them.
Okay, whoever's on the live stream, I love you.
There you go. I love you, baby. I'll see you later.
All right.
Bye. That is a good kid. Did you hear? I hope you guys could hear that she said that she loved you. But so anyway, Northwest Missouri, 50% loss of all crops and 25% of livestock. Well, and there's the thing too. You're talking about North and South Dakota, devastating amounts of snow that they weren't expecting, weren't able to get these crops in. This is going to affect us all, guys. The prices of food is going to go up. And the thing, this is not just limited, and I want you to remember this, okay? This is not just limited to the Midwest in the United States. You look at what the temperatures are going to, we've had this cold front come through. They said 300 records were going to be broken with this cold front that came through, okay? The planet is getting colder. So Jessica just said Texas is feeling it. Yeah, I believe you. I absolutely. Oh, you could hear her just fine. Good. I'm glad because I put her right up to the microphone, so I was hoping you guys could hear her. But North Dakota, 47 of 53 counties, total disaster. Yeah, I mean it's just, and the thing is, a lot of people don't realize this, how bad things are, because they go to the store still, everything's still there, everything is still fine, and I think we're in for a real rude awakening soon. Way before everything happened in the spring, I've been talking about this since last year, and I've been saying something has told me, and I'm food, stock up on food. If food prices, weather manipulation, I'm sure that has something to do with it. Jay Scott, yep, I believe that does have something to do with it. But again, a big part of it is the sun. The sun is going into a declining cycle, so we're going into what's called a grand solar minimum. The last time, here's something to think about, just something to enjoy ahead of time. The last time we went into the grand solar minimum, it lasted quite a while. I think it was like 70 years that it lasted, from the 1600s to the early 1700s. And in that time period, what was a direct result? You had a lot of people died due to starvation, lack of food, okay? And You had a lot of revolution. You had a lot of overthrowing of governments. You had war, because if the food is not there, we're gonna be at war. That's just a thing. So today, I got my RIT cup. I'll show you that to support my daughter. So I'm actually doing tea, regular real tea tonight, not the green tea. So, but anyway, this is something to really pay attention to, because food prices are already going up, and they're doing it very, very gradually. They're not talking about this a lot in the mainstream media. You're not seeing a lot of information about that. Everything is distraction and mirrors and stuff like that. So what are they all talking about? Well, the Trump, trying to impeach President Trump, of course. But lucky it isn't Rochester Academy of Tech. I don't know what that one is. I have no idea. But anyhow, there's a lot of scary stuff with this, guys. With food shortages, you're talking about a lot of people. We had a lot more people on this planet than we've ever had before. And when there's not going to be crops coming in, and there's going to be these disasters that continue to happen over and over again, and it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better, okay? Because we're just starting. So we're just starting this grand solar minimum. You're going to see the planet cooling down. Again, that's why they went from global warming to climate change, okay? I mean, they had to change the thing because the planet was actually getting cooler, not hotter. Now, if we had record high temperatures as well, sure we have, okay? But here we are, this is fall. We're in the fall. This is not winter, but we have winter-like weather right now. 7.2 billion people, Joe M. said. Yeah. So think about, and here's the thing I want you to think about. The breadbasket of America feeds 40% of the world, okay? What happened? Oh, so here's something else that I had just read too. Russia, it was like 6.2 million bushels or something of corn or something like that they decided not to export, that they were keeping it for themselves. Why would they be doing that? Because they know something's going on, just like the powers that be know something's going on. So they're getting ready, and you're talking about a lot of people could die of starvation. Who's going to be affected first? So let's talk about that. Undoubtedly, Africa. There's a lot of imported food that goes to Africa to help Africa because they have a lot of issues over there. Okay, so if we're not producing enough, we can't send it out. Okay, so we have to take. Every country is going to take the mindset of we have to take care of our own first. But this is not just something that's happening in the United States. This is happening all over the world. You're talking the temperatures either too hot, a lot of drought. You're talking extremely cold, unseasonable storms when you weren't expecting them, unseasonable flooding. All these things are happening all over the world. So it's not just like in the Midwest where it's been absolutely devastating for the Midwest. This is happening all over. Ruth Grant said Africa can feed itself. Well, that's not going to be our problem. We need to take care of our own, just like the rest of the world needs to take care of their own. It's a sad situation, but that's the way you have to look at it. If we're not having, I want you to think about that. 15% of the crops of the corn was harvested before these snowstorms came in there, okay, with these blizzards that happened in the Midwest. And only 58% as of October 6th was mature enough to harvest anyway. So they were trying to wait as long as they possibly could to harvest this corn. Now, I'm going to tell you up here, just 3 days ago, before this snow came in, our local farmers, I've seen they were out, and they were out late harvesting. Hey, Al Gibson, 70% of the corn crop is used for animal feed, 30% is used for ethanol. Rest goes for human food chains such as corn syrup. We got a problem coming. Yeah, exactly. And you're going to see the prices going up, guys. Everything is going to go up. And thank you very much for that donation, Al Gibson. I appreciate that. Everything's going to go up. It's going to be a scary, scary time. I mean, a really scary time. Guys, if you haven't shot me a thumbs up yet, I see we're almost at 650 people in the chat, which is awesome. If you could shoot me a thumbs up, I would appreciate that. Oh, the pork industry. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a second. You're talking about food shortages. In China, you had the swine flu that happened, that they had to kill millions of pigs, okay? Millions of pigs. And you're talking about, that's a big part of their diet over there. So they're trying to now go with more with ducks and geese and chickens and stuff like that. But you're talking about a tremendous amount of food that had to be destroyed. That's some scary stuff, guys. There's a lot of things going on that you're not really hearing a lot about. They might put it out there for a minute and then they just go on to something else. They're, like I said, it's the distraction. Don't pay attention because it's not nothing to worry about, but it is something to worry about. Again, last year I was talking about this, that I just, something deep inside me said food, food, food. Keep stocking away food, keep stocking away food. And I have done that. And, and I will continue to do that. I'm not going to stop, because when the time comes, and again, and I've talked about this a lot with you guys, when the time comes, you are going to have what you have. There's no more going to the store at that point. So, whatever event happens that sets everything off, you're going to have what you have. Guys, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Make sure you hit that bell icon so that you get notifications. I would appreciate that. And, anybody that's new that hasn't been here before, welcome. We have a great time. We have great chats on here. And, I never believed in ethanol for gas. I'm with you, Taz, on that. I didn't like ethanol and gas either. But, they did that. That was a game that they played. And, it's just, there's nothing, again, it's all about control. So, they make these deals and they do these little things, and there's not much any of the average American can do about it. So, have I thought about getting some lump coal instead of wood? You know what, Sam? I never really did. I could make coal, charcoal myself if I wanted to, but I have an abundant supply of wood up here. So wood is not an issue as far as that goes. As anybody that's watched the channel knows, I did buy wood this year. I did do some of my own, process some of my own, but then I also bought. I would rather buy it. Redwood 2015, Red Wolves, I'm sorry. Hey, Ed, have you heard about the deer disease called chronic wasting disease affecting the deer population? I absolutely did hear about that. That's more, again, in the Midwest, like up in Minnesota and all that area and stuff like that, but I know it's spreading. And think about that, too. There's another thing killing off that animal population. It's some scary stuff, guys. And, again, what is causing all this? What is the reason for this happening? And I think there's a lot of reasons. I think a lot of it's being done on purpose. I think that there is an absolute goal to reduce the population. There's too many people. There really is. And so they're going to create something one way or another to reduce this population. But, what I want you guys to think about is all these farmers that invested their entire lives, everything that they're doing, into farming. And now they have, it's a complete loss. What do you do? You know what I mean? What do you do as a farmer then? And that's why so many of the farmers had just said enough is enough and walked away. What I would absolutely encourage anybody to do, anybody. Oh, and I wanted to give you an update too on this too, and I'm going to mention this first, but get greenhouses set up, guys. It's a controlled environment. You get your greenhouses set up, and then you can grow in a controlled environment. So it doesn't matter if it's raining cats and dogs outside. You can monitor and give as much water or as little water as you want to your plants. You can control that to a degree. So I would absolutely encourage people to get greenhouses, and if you can, start growing your own food if you can. Seeds, huge. Seeds are so important. About my greenhouse, it's not coming Friday. There was a delay. It's actually now coming on Monday. So they told me the 18th. The greenhouse will be here on the 18th. So just want to give everybody an update on that. Why don't you own a freeze-dried machine instead of buying meals? Ideas. I think you're saying buy a freeze-dried machine is what I think you're saying, Brent. You know what? Those are hugely expensive, to be honest with you. If you look at the cost of those, they are not cheap. So, but again, it's like it would depend on how much you're doing. So you look at the cost of production, harvesting, all that type of stuff. Is it easier to buy it? A lot of times it's easier to buy it. So, and you can take that time that you would have put into doing the freeze drying yourself and put it into other projects. You have to. Cat just said $3,000. Yeah, that's not. They start at 2,500. Chris Culp said. Yeah, so I mean they're not cheap at all. And to me, it's like if I can, you want to utilize your time as best you can. Most people still have to work a full-time job. Most people are raising kids and have a family, so there's a lot of other responsibilities. So do you have the time then, on top of all those responsibilities, to buy a freeze dryer, do it yourself, and stuff like that? I mean, that's what you have to do. What company did your medical seeds come from? You know what? I'll have to look at what that said on there. But I'll tell you what. When I do my next video, I will show that. I don't want to go up and grab it right now, but I will show that on my next video what it said. So just so you guys know. But yeah, that was pretty cool. That was very, very cool. So I really like that. Yeah, all food is going up. And then you know what the funny thing is, Kat? If you look at the size, the proportion size of the food, like sugar used to be a 5-pound bag. Sugar is now a 4-pound bag, but it's still the same price. So think about that. This spring, I'm going to make a greenhouse. Heather Parker just said. That's a very good idea. If you can extend your season and growing, and here's the best part, guys. With a greenhouse, and this is the best part of it at all. When you're growing your crops and you're growing your own thing, you can, first of all, grow what you want to eat, what you like. It's all organic. It's not been sprayed with chemicals or anything like that. And you have it, and you've done it yourself. It's very, very healthy. And like I said, I cannot wait to get going with my greenhouse and get things going with that. The Mayan Indians' main diet consisted mainly of corn. They had no teeth as a result. Yeah, well, I believe that. I believe that. But again, it's like you have to have what's there and available. So corn is absolutely important. You got to have corn. You need to have that. But, everything else as well. I mean, if you can grow a lot of greens and eat those are really, really healthy. A lot of vitamins and minerals and everything like that in those greens. And I'm absolutely looking forward to just having all that. And, I can go out there and make myself, when I get to that point, I can make myself a salad every single day. So I like corn on the cob. Me too, Bill Norwood. I like sweet corn. Sweet corn is absolutely awesome. What do they call it? Salt and pepper, I think is what it's called. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, it's just that sweet corn is absolutely the best. Nothing like that. When that's in season, I'll get as much as I possibly can. So let's see, what do we got here? Wasting disease through western Pennsylvania. Andy just said. Oh, it's in through Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's spreading all over. Oh, butter and sugar. Okay, thank you. S. Furlow just said that it's called butter and sugar. Yeah, though that's the best sweet corn right there. That is just melts in your mouth. It's just, when you get it right, it is absolutely awesome. But again, guys, if you can grow your own stuff, be as self-sufficient as you possibly can be, that is absolutely the way to go. Peaches and cream corn is great. Janet, we the people just said that. Okay. I don't think I've had that one. Wasting in Oregon as well, Lori just said. Yeah, I know that has been spreading, and a lot of deer have had that. And and you don't want to eat that deer. That's not deer you want to eat. If they have that wasting disease, that is not deer you want to eat at all. And it's really, really just, it's very perplexing when you look at that and try to figure out what's going on. Continue with your fruit trees, Ed. What's the next fruit trees am I going to plant? Jessica just asked that. What I'm going to actually do, Jessica, in the spring, what my game plan is, I'm going to put in some more apple trees. And I want to get, like I said, I'm not going to go with the real small ones this year. I'm going to go with a more mature tree that hopefully within inside of a couple of years that I'll get good fruit off of it. So that's why I want to go with a more mature tree. The other trees that I've planted, they do okay, but they're slow. And it's going to take a while for those to produce the way I would like them to. So, but that's, you live and you learn. So you figure out what works, and then you adjust to that. How do you inventory your preps? Pen and paper, Excel tips? John, what I basically did with a lot of my preps, I did an inventory earlier this year with my daughter Heather, and I basically went into one area. I pulled everything out, went through things, make sure everything was okay, and then we wrote it all down on a piece of paper, like on a notebook, just a notebook. And so I have my list of those type of things like that, and that's how we did it. But you need to keep up on that, because what I found out was there was certain things that I was lacking on, that I didn't have as much preps in that area like I thought I did. And one of those was like the canned soups, and I've absolutely rectified that since then. They're good to have. People will say, oh, well, this is high in sodium and that's not so great for you, and this is not so great for you. But this is my thought process. If you are starving and there's nothing else around, you're going to beg me for that high sodium can of whatever. That's kind of, what we got to realize, guys, and this is what ultimately, one of the main reasons why I prep, why do I prep the way I do? And I want to explain so you guys can really, truly understand. I don't plan on just eating my preps. That's not my ultimate game plan. My ultimate game plan is my preps to be used as a stopgap to get me through until harvest is, I can get things to harvest. So let's say SHTF happens in the winter, okay? We'll use that scenario. Now I have the food and I have the supplies to get through the winter, not just to survive, but to thrive, to continue to work on other things and get ready, okay? And when the spring gets here and those first things start to blossom, like your dandelions and stuff like that, now it's harvest time. Now you're going to be out there and you're going to be foraging for wild edibles. Hopefully you have your greenhouses going and you have those plants going. Microgreens are another thing that you can grow, and that would be a good thing to have, so that you have that opportunity to have that type of nutritious stuff in with your diet. My preps, and like I said, with my preps, I have freeze-dried food. Yes, I do. I have the rice and beans. Absolutely, I do. I have canned goods. Yes, I do. It is about having a variety of different things, a way to change the texture and the taste of those things, so that you don't, because if you eat the same thing every day, every single day, with no different texture and no different taste, then that's where a lot of spices are very important to have in your preps as well. You need to change that taste of that food, or otherwise you're not going to want to eat it. But you're going to be much, much more active once in a post-event. You're still going to lose weight. I'm going to tell you right now, we're all going to lose weight in a post-event, even if you have preps, because you're going to be a lot more active than you are now. You're not going to be like, it's dark, you're going to go to bed, because you're going to be up early when it's light, and there's going to be stuff to do all day long. So, having a variety of different things is a smart thing to do. Get your preps in order. Get ready as best that you possibly can. That's the biggest advice that I would give anybody, because it's like, you just never know, guys. I mean, you just never know. I mean, I have a feeling the way it's going to go down, and this is just my own feeling, that one day like today, and I talked about this last night with the group that I was with, the lights are on and everything's normal, and we wake up tomorrow to a nightmare. That's how quickly I think that it will go down. Do I rotate my preps? Good question, JJ. Certain things, yes, but a lot of things are my long-term preps. I pack them away and don't touch them. So what am I packing away and not touching? My rice will last forever. Some honey, I put that away. That can last forever. Beans, you can go 30 years with beans, okay? So I pack those away as well. You just described a typical farmer's normal day. Exactly, Ravenwood. But you know what? In a post-event, we're all going to become farmers, because that's what it's going to be to take. That's what it's going to take to survive. That is absolutely going to take what it's going to take to survive. Joel says, Ed, love your coop. Well done. Oh, well, thank you very much. Let me get back to what I was talking about, what JJ asked. So a lot of those long-term food preps, I absolutely pack them up, put them away, forget about them. Sugar, stuff like that, those are all packed away, and I just let them sit where they're sitting, okay? Now, the freeze-dried stuff, obviously that has a 25-year shelf life, so I don't have to rotate that either. Canned goods, those type of things, absolutely they have to go in rotation. Anything that you can, hopefully you're eating what you can, So, as you're eating through it, then the next year you're canning more. So, and I would encourage everybody to do that as well. I absolutely would encourage you guys to can. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't do any canning this year. I did not do any canning this year. But I absolutely, now that I'm going to have the greenhouse and I'm going to be able to grow my own crops and stuff like that, I absolutely plan on canning this year coming up. And, and so what do you got to have for that? You better have a whole lot of canning jars. You better have a whole lot of, lids and those type of stuff, and the pans and everything else that goes with canning. There's a lot that goes with it, but it's enjoyable when you can have your own stuff like that, and you've made it and you've grown it, and then you can harvest it and you can eat it and you can can it. And then when the winter comes and you can, maybe you have peach trees and you were able to can a whole bunch of peaches. Well, now you've got these peaches in the middle of winter that you normally wouldn't have. That's awesome, so that's really, really important. I have 500 jars ready. Josh Connor just said, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know how many cans I got. I got a lot, though. I have a lot of cans. And and here's the best part. I'll add more to it. Lids, I would buy a whole bunch more lids if anybody. Get the ball lids, because they're not really reusable unless you're just using the can or the jars for other things to put in those jars. You can use them for that. But the canning, they're usually good for one. Yep, stock up on lids unless you're going with the tater lids. Yep, the tater lids, or Tattler lids, those are reusable. But they're more expensive. It's just easier to go ahead. Ed, do you go to the farmer's market? Yes, I do, Kat. I do go to the farmer's markets. We have them all around. There's a place not that far from me that they have a stand, and I utilize that. I try to make sure I'm spending my money locally when it comes to stuff like that, to be honest with you. I think it's important to do that to support your local economy. So absolutely, I try to do that. But being prepared, guys, how big is the greenhouse? Okay, I'm not going to talk about I got a greenhouse coming, okay? And I'm not going to tell you how big it is or anything yet, because the whole thing is going to be a surprise. And so I want people to see it as we do it, as we're putting it up. I will talk about it once it's here, guys. Once we start assembling it, I will talk everything about the greenhouse. I will share all that information with you. I am really, really excited to get this project going. And even with the snow, we can still get the greenhouse in. I do need to try to get a couple loads of dirt in here first. So, the size of the trailer was a 37-foot trailer is what I had in here. So, yeah, that's what I gave to Greg. I inherited all my grandma's jars when she passed. There's nothing wrong with that. The Hatfield preppers just said that. Ed started out in the morning at 6 a.m. Now it's 6 degrees. Now it's 25. Yeah, it was cold. It was cold this morning. It was absolutely cold this morning. But, what are you going to do? That absolutely happens. All right, I see we're almost at 800 people in the chat, guys. If you haven't shot a thumbs up yet, please do that. Also, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell notification so that you get updates. I had a buddy of mine. Do I miss the camper? Yes and no. The last year, basically, the camper just ended up being a storage thing where we just put stuff in there for storage. So it was kind of bittersweet with getting rid of the camper, because when we first moved up here, if anybody knows, as anybody's followed the channel, we started out in the camper. And then we bought the building and converted, this 14 by 40 lofted barn into our home. And so, it was definitely bittersweet. It was definitely time for it to go. Being able to give it to my neighbor and he can use it and he can utilize it and stuff like that, that's a win-win to me. Instead of it going to a junkyard and being destroyed, he can absolutely use it, which is great. And and that's part of the whole giving back thing. You know what I mean? It's like I got my use out of it. We definitely were appreciative to have it at the time. We had a roof over our head. We had a refrigerator, everything else. It was awesome. Once we got into the house, then it really kind of became obsolete at that point, and we strictly used it. Like when Eddie was having the tutor come, they would go out into the camper and he would sit there at the table and they would do, the studies and stuff there. And, so, but like I said, this last year, we really didn't use it at all. It was just there. So, you know, is it safe to can mayo jars? I don't have, but I've seen pantry tours that do. You know what? I don't know. Mayonnaise jars now are all plastic. But older ones, I don't know if they would be good to can. I mean, if the lid would fit, I'm sure it would be fine. But I really don't know. I would just stick with canning jars, to be honest with you. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So Daisy Taylor says no, don't use mayo jars. Yeah, I would rather be safe than sorry. So I would stick with canning jars if you have those. And you can still get them all over the place. But here's something now I wanted to discuss about this real quick too. So when I was together with the prepper group yesterday, and we were talking and stuff like that, and this is one of the things. Do you have a canning pressure cooker? Yes, Tamara, I actually have two. I picked up. I'll talk about this real quick, and then I'll talk about the other thing. I picked up an All-American canner at a garage sale. I got that, and I got another canning thing as well, and I picked them up for I think $20. It was 20 or 25 is what I offered, and the guy jumped on it. All American canner goes for about $250, so it was absolutely a great deal. So I have that one. I also bought another canner as well, but the All American canners, those are really, really good to have. So I want to get back to what we were talking about at this prepper get together last night. So somebody had asked me the question. They said, do you think that there's a lot more preppers out there than we realize? And I said, absolutely. I said, there's a lot of people that are very, very quiet, very, very secretive. They're not going online. They're not trying to find out information. They're keeping to themselves, and they're getting ready. And somebody in the group that was there said, they go, you can tell that. They said, I agree with you. And they said, the reason that you can tell that is go try to buy canning jars. And I thought that was a great thing because there's a lot of people out there getting canning jars. And so if you can get more and more canning jars, off season, guys, that's the time to really load up on stuff. Because when it's canning season, try to get canning jars then. It's next to impossible. They can't keep anything in stock. And when you have like places like Walmart and those type of places, they only have so much come in with each shipment. So if they have somebody that walks in there and cleans them out of whatever, that's what happens. I mean, 804 to 410. Oh, you're talking about the number of people plus a thumbs up. Yeah, I know. We're like half the thumbs up, and we got over 800 people in the chat now. Guys, if you haven't shot that thumbs up yet, would you do that, please? And I got to tell you why I got to do it. I got to do it for two reasons. All right. One, I do it because it's a game to see how high we can get up with a thumbs up. So it's kind of fun. Our recent high that we had was like 550. And the other reason that I like to do it is because my trolls, the people that hate me, cannot stand that I ask for the thumbs up. So that's another reason why I have to do it. So just so you guys know. So it's fun. It pisses some people off, which is just absolutely very enjoyable, especially if they hate me. So, I just, that's why we do it. So, but 800 people, we're pretty close to a record. I think we hit 800 one other time. But yeah, that's pretty much close to a record of people in the chat tonight. So everybody that's new in the chat tonight that's here, thank you for joining us. That's at best cheap backup wood stove. Sandra just said that. Okay, it's a really good and cheap wood stove that you can get. They have those ones at like if you go to Tractor Supply, and it's like the longer. They're just a small, longer one. That's really, really cheap. It's like $250, I think, in that range, or maybe it's less than that. But that's a nice, cheap backup wood stove. And here's the other important thing, guys. If you're going to get wood stoves and stuff like that, make sure 349 Donald Singard said. Okay, so things have gone up then, But so make sure you get enough stovepipe. Get extra stovepipe because, it's going to wear out over time. And so you want to make sure that you have plenty of stovepipe. That is really, really important. When you get things, guys, remember the rule of the SEAL rule, okay? 1 is none, 2 is 1. So make sure you have backups for everything. I think that's hugely, hugely important to have. We should have those things. I think that, it's just a smart thing to do. Because usually when does something break down or something happens? It's in the middle of the night when you're not going to the store or it's freezing cold outside and those type of things. So if you can get those things squared away, that's the way to do it, and that's the best time to do it. Plan A, B, and C. Wolfgang just said you are exactly right. Have multiple ways to heat too. That's the other thing. Wood stoves are absolutely fantastic. You guys know I heat my home with wood. I highly, highly, highly recommend a wood stove. They are the best way to stay warm. There's nothing like that heat. Now, I'm going to tell you what. I got up this morning. I made myself a nice cup of tea, and I actually did use my RIT mug when I did it, okay? And then I used some of my collected eggs from my chickens, and I made myself a beautiful omelet this morning right on the wood stove. So my eggs were free, realistically. I mean, other than, paying for the feed and stuff like that and taking care of the chickens. But there's nothing like homegrown eggs. So we got your own chickens and those eggs, and then comparing those eggs to store-bought eggs, absolutely no comparison whatsoever. So do you prep for the animals? Absolutely, I do, Ricky. Yep, I absolutely do. There's definitely. So here's a discussion that we had last night, and I mean, this may sound terrible, and some of you might not like it, but when the time comes, when SHTF happens, there will be plenty of people that are going to have to be dispatched. Okay, there's going to be plenty of dead people all around. Dogs can eat those people. You can feed that meat to those dogs. So, I mean, that sounds terrible, but that is an alternative. And I'm going to tell you what, if you don't, and if you're not giving your dogs enough food, they're going to run off and they're going to go and hunt. So they're going to do it anyway. And if there's dead bodies, they're going to eat the dead bodies. Cats too. Jay Andrews just said that. Well, the cats are more, try to incubate more chickens for barter. Yeah, well, that we can do that as well. But yeah, it is. But I stock up on cat food and stuff like that, so I have backups and stuff like that. But the cats, I'll tell you what, they're pretty self-sufficient, especially like in the summertime. They may come in and snack and eat a little bit. They're right back out the door, and they are hunting constantly. Absolutely constantly. Pigs will eat the bodies too, L. Gibson said. Yep, you're exactly right. But then realistically, this is now with that, my thought would be, and then I'm going to eat the pig after it ate a human being. I don't know if I would want to do that. But yes, they will. Pigs will definitely do that. JJ just made a great comment. It's absolutely vital for city dwellers to have plans to bug out emergency exit routes, etc. You were 100% right. The biggest nightmare, guys, and I've said this over and over again, if you are in the cities, if you can get out of the cities now, do it now. Get as far away as you possibly can, because those are going to be a death trap. Here's the problem a lot with the cities, okay? With the cities, what's going to happen, a lot of people are going to wait. So let's say the power goes out. There's a massive power outage all over. A lot of people are going to wait. That's a fatal mistake, and I'm going to tell you why. They're going to sit there and wait for that power to come back on. So 3 days down the road, when the power hasn't come back on, and now they realize we're in a true SHTF situation, it's too late to leave then. Because I'm going to tell you right now, with inside of 12 hours with no power, the gang's going to be out there looting, okay? And once they're done looting, and then, then there are those different gangs. And when I say gangs, I mean you're going to have your real gangs, and then you're going to have your mobs of people. And they're going to loot, pillage, burn, rape, and murder. That's what they're going to do. And if you have stuff and they can get wind of it that you have stuff, they're going to go after you in the city. So very scary stuff. If you don't do it, move away from densely populated areas. Yeah, if you can, yes. That's exactly right. You move away from densely populated areas. And I'm going to tell you what, an area that is also not safe is absolutely going to be suburbia. Suburbia is not a safe place to be because it's so close to the cities. The cities will spill out that far to suburbias. I'm going to tell you right now, the city people will basically, in my opinion, stay within a 10-mile radius of where they are. Okay, so they may go to suburbia and do what they need to do there. But what will happen is they're going to go back to what's familiar. So they're not going to go out too far. They're definitely not going to go 25, 30 miles outside the cities because what will happen if they do that, they're going to be met with force. They're going to be met with towns working together, locking up their towns to protect each other. Small town mentality, guys. It's very, very real, and they're going to watch out for each other, okay? And they're not going to let strangers in. And so that's what you need to think about too. So if you can acclimate yourself now and get out there and get integrated into these smaller communities, that's the way to do it. It's amazing, like the town that's close to me, everybody knows everybody. And so we've been here. We just started our 5th year, in June. And so, now it's like, I see people and then, they wave, they know who I am, I know who they are. And that's just the way it is. You get to know people and they know you, they get familiar with you. Now we got our players, of course. We have our, our druggies and those type of people as well. But guess what? Everybody knows who they are, so those are things that you need to think about as well. The liberal mindset will lead to the next SHTF. I just, it's partially the liberal mindset and partially just people having, did you ever cover seed preps? I haven't done that, no, but I could do a video on that. I could actually probably do a live stream on that. That would be a good live stream. But yeah, there's, again, it's just, there's a lot that would, as far as an SHTF event, you're going to have the liberal mindset, but you're also going to have a lot of people that are just absolutely clueless, that have no idea, that have watched the mainstream media and bought into that whole thing and think that nothing is ever going to change and everything's going to be fine because that's what they keep saying on the TV. Okay. And why would they lie to us? So, again, buy sandbags. Yeah. Yep. That's a very good advice. That is very, very good advice. But how many miles out is far enough to go? Sandy P's asking. I would say the farther out, the better. To be honest with you, the farther away you can get from anywhere is going to be a really, really good thing. And so, if you can, for me, from the major city, I think probably a good distance is 50, 60 miles. If you can, and again, depends on what your commute is. If you have to go to the city to commute to work, you might want to be 30 miles out. You might say be comfortable with 40 miles. It depends on how much you want to drive. So, it really comes down to an individual preference. But the farther out that you can get, the better off you're going to be. The more rural an area that you can move into, the better. The less densely populated is going to be your best bet. So, let's see. Bye for now, people. Think smart, stay safe. Love from the land down under. Rod T just said that. Exactly. Do what you got to do now, guys. Prepare as much as you possibly can. It's very, very smart. So what are we at? 861? Wow, that's got to be a record number of people in here in the chat. I think I don't think we've been that high before. So again, thank you guys for joining us tonight. That's awesome. But if you haven't, guys, shot that thumbs up yet, if you would do that, I think we might break a record on thumbs up here tonight. So we're at 522, and our recent high was 550. I think the most I've ever got was like 625. I think was the highest I've ever got. So here, I wanted to talk about this real quickly. I have talked about this before, and I want to clear this up for the religious folks out there. Some people had an issue with this, and I just want to absolutely clear this up, okay? I say we are legion, okay? I do it in pretty much all my live streams. I talk about we are legion because we are many, all right? So people have said, oh, well, my goodness, that's in the Bible. And it was a demon that was possessed, and it was like, the demon was saying, and I know that, and the demon was saying, we are legion because we are many. I say we are legion because we are many in a positive note. I say that because there are so many of us out here. And, you want to talk about sleeper cells? Let's talk about that. There's a lot of sleeper cell preppers out there, guys. But we are many, okay? So, it's the topic, bringing more people in. Gene said, yeah, I believe that. You're right. And it's a scary situation. It's a very scary situation. But I just wanted you guys to know, I do not mean we are legion in a bad way at all. Okay. So I just wanted to make that very, very clear. It's absolutely only positive for me. Okay. But again, the food shortages, guys, let's get back on topic a little bit. The food shortages are absolutely coming. They are coming. Okay. And that can be very, very scary. So how do we as preppers, how do we as brand new preppers that are just starting, anybody brand new just starting, do the best you can? Again, I've talked about if you have a 2-week supply of food and water put back, you have an advantage over 95% of the people in this country. Why would you not do that at least? If you didn't do anything else, if you did no other prepping, then get 2 weeks worth of food and water together to give yourself that type of an advantage over everybody else. That's a very, very smart thing to do. Very, very smart thing to do. So I would highly, highly encourage everybody to do that, So, and if you get to that 2 weeks, then you go from there. Hand grinders for meat and grinders for corn come in handy. Yeah, no, grinders come in handy really, really well. And thank you for that comment, Jason. That's a very smart comment. Hand tools, ways to grind wheat and stuff like that. It's a very, very smart thing to do. Oh, there was a troll, JJ. Didn't even see it. So, well, thank you for taking care of that. I appreciate that. And here's the thing I would encourage people too. When you're growing your gardens, when you're doing that type of thing, save your seeds, okay? Save your own seeds and then germinate them again, for your next round. And if you have that greenhouse, and like I said, when we do the greenhouse here, I'm definitely absolutely going geothermal all the way. I may not be able to put the geothermal in until the spring, but that is absolutely what I want to do. And so, that's going to be, a project that'll be fun in itself. But again, I'm going to share that all with you. But once I get that geothermal in, guys, I will be able to grow year round in my greenhouse. In the wintertime, it would be cold weather, hardy crops that could handle, 50-degree temperatures and stuff like that. Again, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to have an aquaponic system with the greenhouse, and it's going to be very, very interesting. And I think it'll be a tremendously, it's going to be educational in the aspect that I'm going to learn a lot, and I'm going to teach you guys a lot from it, and we're going to learn it together. And so then if somebody's looking at doing that and they want to go with the aquaponics or the geothermal and stuff like that, then I can give them good advice of what works and what doesn't work, because I will have the practical experience of doing it. It's just like my solar system. I learned by doing it. We came up here, we put the first system together, realized really quickly that it wasn't going to be enough, and it has evolved from there. And that's what you need to do. You need more bridges. The trolls need more homes. Yeah, right. Well, they get mad. They don't like it, And here's the thing, and I gotta say this, guys. This is funny. You're gonna love this. So all my trolls out there who are watching like my live streams and all my videos, and then you send me those emails telling me how horrible I am and why you have your list of why I'm so horrible. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel, because I don't get it personally. There are channels out there that I don't care for. Guess what? I don't watch their channels. I don't support their channels. So I just think that it's amazing. Bartertown. Yeah, James White just said Bartertown. You are going to see in a post-event, bartering will be big. It absolutely will be big, and it's going to be very important to barter. And so again, making those loose affiliations, talking with people, getting to know people. Maybe this group is, 15 miles away and you've talked to them. I made another contact today. And so I have the UPS guy showing up here like almost every single day now. Okay. And I was talking with him, and he is a Mormon. And so he has a group, and they are not that far away from me. And so the guy that's the head of that group, so we're going to exchange information, and I plan on meeting them as well. Any kind of connections that you can make, guys, I think it's important to do, because down the road, you never know, maybe that group saves your life and your group's life, and maybe you save them. I mean, it all works together. It's working together and making those connections now. Make the connections now while it's not life or death, because when it's life and death, people are going to be a lot more guarded then. That is not the time to make those connections, because people are not going to be trusting. After what goes down and what they see, people are not going to be trusting. So that's important as well. Mormons and Amish are great preppers. You are absolutely right. They're the people that are going to have the information. And so that's important too. So we're at 588. All right, guys, if you haven't done it yet, please shoot a thumbs up there. We're at like 830 in the chat. And so let's see how high we can get it. I think, like I said, literally, I think 650 is the highest that I ever had it for thumbs up in the chat. So we just hit 600. So let's break that 650. That would be awesome if we did that tonight. We have, like I said, a lot of people in the chat tonight, which has just been fantastic. Thank you for everybody for coming. And, this has been a great discussion, a lot of great comments. My moderators, guys, are absolutely awesome. So thank you to my moderators. They do a great job. They really keep the chat clean, which is important to me because it's like, this is not about playing games or stupid or I hate you because, you have a bald head or whatever the reason that they hate you. It's not about that. This is about sharing information. I share with you, you guys share with me. We learn from each other. And I think that is really, really awesome. Will Social Security still come during a total collapse? I'm thinking no, retired Brown. I'm thinking that would be, that's what, and that comes the importance of when SHTF happens, guys. And I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to repeat this many, many times in coming videos and in live chats and stuff. When SHTF happens, you have what you have. So look at what you have, take your inventory, sit down, take that time, figure out what you have. Where are you weak? What are things that you can improve on? Do you have enough flashlights? Do you have enough batteries? Do you have a way to recharge batteries? Do you have, even a small solar system to get a small solar system going? Wolfgang just said we're all in the same boat. We absolutely are all in the same boat. So we need to prepare and plan, and being organized now is going to help you guys in the long run. I'm going to tell you what, I had somebody just write me today. And I wanted to share it with you. And I'm not going to say who this was, but they wrote me today, and they said that they had a personal SHTF. So, see, and this is important to remember too, guys. SHTF doesn't have to be the end of the world as we know it. It can be a personal SHTF situation that affects you and your family directly, okay? Well, this person had a personal SHTF, and he said because of watching my channel and listening to what I had to say and all that type of stuff, that he got into prepping, and his prep saved him because he was able, even though everything else was falling apart, he was still able to eat and have enough food when he couldn't afford to go out and buy food. And I wanted to share that with you guys because I think, and then he was thanking me, and I'm going to tell you what, I want to thank him because I'm glad he listened. And I'm glad that he realized that he needed to do something to help himself. This is what all this is about, guys. This is me teaching you, helping you to help yourselves. That's what it's all about. It's working together, for the greater good also, but also to put yourself in a situation, be it a personal SHTF, your town SHTF, city SHTF, county, country, whatever SHTF happens. You are ready. You can handle it, and you're not going to panic. And I think that is hugely, hugely important. All right. So at this point, what I'm going to do, because I'm going to go over to. I'm not going to stop at 9:00 just because we got such a great crowd in here tonight. I'm going to run a little bit past, but we got to do this part now. So I don't want nobody jumping the gun ahead of time because all my regular subscribers know what I'm about to do. We are legion, guys. We are many. There's many of us out here, preppers and off-gridders, and we're a huge family. That's what we are. We are a prepping family. Okay. Where's everybody from tonight? Tell me where you guys are all from. Okay. So, Sodus, Michigan, Nevada, New York, Chicagoland, Washington State, Mobile, Alabama, Linden, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, New Mexico, Ohio, New Zealand, Syracuse, New York, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. We got Chicago again, upstate New York, South Carolina. This is going really fast. Raleigh, North Carolina. Oh, we got Germany. Very nice. Texas again, Florida, Central Texas. North Carolina, Indiana, Arkansas, California, Kentucky, Colorado, New York City, Florida. Let's see, Sullivan, Indiana, very nice. The Netherlands, very nice. Norway, cool. Let's see, Arizona, nice. Lincoln, Montana, very cool. Michigan, another New Zealand, Kentucky, Northern Maine, Central Florida, Columbia, Tennessee. Let's see, we get. So anyway, there's a ton, and I'm not going to keep reading them all, guys, but there are so many of us out here. We got Sweden. I hadn't seen that one pop up yet, so I want to make sure I said that. There's so many of us out there, guys, and we really are the ones, when the time comes, that can really, truly make a difference. We really can. And it's amazing, and it's a blessing. And I was talking to this group last night, and I wanted to share this with you. And what I said to them was, We have been awakened for a reason. There's a reason that we're awake. I mean, people think that preppers and off-gridders, they think we're crazy. Oh my God, why would you do that? Nothing's ever going to happen, right? But my thought is this: we're the ones that have been chosen. We are the ones that are awakened for a reason, okay? And I think when the time comes that we can all make a true difference in how things turn out, because we not only have to survive what's going to come, okay? We need to survive that, but we need to thrive while surviving. And then afterwards, we need to rebuild. And what are we going to rebuild if we haven't helped anybody? If we have turned everybody away and you don't have a community of people to rebuild for? What's it all about then? Folks, we're all going to lose people. We're all going to lose people in our groups, either from sickness, from disease, from, gunshot wounds, you name it. Things are going to happen. Stupidity accidents are going to happen. People are going to do stuff. They're going to get infections and they're going to die. And it's going to be a whole different ball game. Okay. So if we can help other people and we can bring people into our groups, and again, you're going to want to vet people. Okay. You're going to want to feel them out. If your gut, and I've talked about this too, if your gut says, I'm not trusting this person, then don't do it. Okay. Then don't do it. What are we at? 661 on the thumbs up. Wow. That's amazing. Let's see if we can push that up over 700, guys. I think our highest, I think it was 725 was our highest ever on thumbs up. Yep, don't forget to stock up on seasoning, JJ said. Yep, exactly. I talked a little bit about that earlier. Make sure you have your spices and your seasons. Pack them away. Get ready, because changing that texture of the food. And an example I gave last night with talking with this group, and I'll share it with you guys. And a lot of you have already heard it, but maybe some of you haven't. With rice, I have a lot of rice. I've packed up rice for a long time, and I continue to buy more rice. Rice is cheap, okay? But if you just ate plain rice every single day, you're going to lose your mind, okay? But if you can take that packet of turkey gravy, of pork gravy, of chicken gravy, of beef gravy, okay, those different flavorings, incorporate that into that rice, right? And then maybe another time you take a couple cans of chili and you put that into the rice. It stretches the meal, but it also changes the texture. You change that taste. Yeah, you're eating rice, but now it doesn't taste so bad. Or maybe you got whatever vegetables that you've got for that. You harvested something and you're able to incorporate that in with the rice as well, changing that texture, having spices to change that texture. It's going to be hugely important. And again, and I've talked, black pepper is my friend. There you go, Bill Norwood. Nothing wrong with that, but my thing, and again, and I've talked about this before, if you are a great cook, if you are a fantastic cook, hit me up. I want a great cook for my group over here, because I'm going to tell you what, I can get by and you would survive, but you wouldn't thrive with me cooking. So, I need a great cook. So Jessica just said, I'm a great cook. Oh, there you go. If you're within a decent area from me, and if you want to get together and talk, I'm definitely down for that. So I'm a great cook, but I'm expensive. Kevin H just said, that's awesome. I like that. I'm going to tell you what, some of the best cooks you ever wanted to see are men. There's women that are no slouches. I'm going to tell you what, my first wife, that woman could cook. Oh my God. She was Sicilian, and she could cook. Whew. But yeah, that's, but anyway, and I want to talk about this really quickly, guys, too. What we do prepping wise is not done out of fear. So many people think we do this because we're scared. It's not about being scared. It's about being prepared. Okay. So this is not done out of fear. I want to lay my head down on my pillow at night and know that if something happens tomorrow, that I can take care of my family, that I can take care of my mom. Okay. That I can take care of my sister and my niece and my daughter and my son. And people have asked me if I would take my ex-wife in with me. Well, she is the mother of my children, and how could I not? Okay. Now, would she have to follow the rules like everybody else? Absolutely, she would. And she would not be with me. Okay, but I would absolutely take her in. She is the mother of my children, and I couldn't turn her away. That's something. I mean, and some of you would say that they would never do that, and that's okay. Um, I just, for me, it just, you have to let some things go, and so, for me, it's just, I wouldn't do that to her, because of my children, and I would do it for my kids. But again, we're going to have people, guys, and I want you to remember this too. We're going to have people in our groups that we never expected to have in our groups. So prepare accordingly. Okay. If you got 10 people in your group and you're going, okay, I got 10 people, I'm good to go, I don't have to worry about it. You better plan for 20. Okay. And maybe even more, because you're going to end up with people in your group that you did not expect to be in your group. Again, the key for prepping, why we prep, we need to get through that first winter till we can start getting to the wild edibles, till we can start getting crops in the ground, and growing crops. Gardening is going to be a huge, huge part of surviving once SHDF happens. So, that's the way it's going to be, honestly. So just, I'm trying to be honest with you guys. What do we got? 704 thumbs up. All right, I'm going to go one more push for thumbs up here, guys. 725, I think, is our all-time high. And we can beat that tonight. Absolutely, we can beat that tonight. So if you haven't shot a thumbs up yet, if you would do that, I would appreciate it. Let's see if we can smash 725. That would be very, very cool before we go off air here. Again, I want to thank all my moderators, and I appreciate you guys. You guys do a fantastic job. So thank you for keeping the chat clean and watching everything. Again, guys, I want to say, yep, I see we broke it. So we got a new record. So we'll have a new thing to shoot for. Remember, guys, we are all in this together. That is important to remember, okay? It's very, very important. Don't do this out of fear. I don't want you guys to prep out of fear. It's not about fear, okay? It's about being prepared. It's insurance. Like anything else, live your lives, enjoy your lives, go to the movies, spend time with your family, do things together, still laugh, have a great time. But at the same time, get ready, because I'm telling you, when that shoe drops, it's going to be an MF, and you know what I mean when I say that. It's not going to be pleasant. It's going to be very, very scary at that time. So, again, remember, guys, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life, and it's really, really important that we tell the people that we care about every single day how we feel, okay? Also, remember, guys, STD. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only person that's going to stop you from getting there is you. Nobody else can stop you, okay? So stay positive. Stay away from the negativity. Don't listen to those people. All they want to do is bring you down. They're a waste of time. It's not even a waste of argument with people like that. Let them do whatever they're going to do, and you just keep driving to your dreams and your goals, okay? And it doesn't have to be about prepping. It can be whatever you're trying to do. So, stick with that, okay? I did want to mention really, really quickly, if you are interested, we have the prepper community on my website at preppernurse1.com. If you're looking to connect with like-minded people, it's a great resource that you can do. It's totally free. It does not cost anything, okay? So go to my website, preppernurse1.com. You click on the Prepper Nurse 1 community. You register. That's all you got to do. And then it's very private. Nobody else can just come in and see what's going on. We got great message boards there. A lot of good people to talk with in your state or in your country. And you can try to connect with people if that's what you're trying to do. Okay. What are we at? 754 thumbs up. So new record there, guys. So thank you. Thank you, everybody that's been here today. I appreciate all of you. Great chat. I enjoyed all the conversations in the chat as well, and all the comments. Thank you, guys. It does mean a lot. It really does. And thank you for your support through all the years that I've been doing this. I appreciate it, all right? I will talk to you all later. Have a great night. Prepper Nurse 1, out for now.